Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Another Meet the Gamer. Yes, hi, I'm DaniyelSon. It's very nice to meet you. I'm the gamer. And today we got some reaction and commentary on what the heck is going on with Ubisoft. We've all seen great games come from them. I do want to go into something that I see here on the threads. Is Ubisoft struggling financially? It's saying, yes, Ubisoft is in financial trouble, experiencing declining sales, a significant drop in net bookings for the fiscal year 2024 to 2025, a collapsing stock price, a massive debt accumulation after a string of underperforming games like Star Wars Outlaws and Avatar. If you guys haven't seen it, the game is just kind of like put together, thrown out there, and trying to like go off the movie status, but you have to have a game that has its own style, still true to the movie, still true to the concept, things like that. Another game, Frontiers of Pandora. In response to these issues, Ubisoft has laid off staff, closed studios. Take a breather. But let's get into the video. Let's see where we guys going.
Ubisoft used to be the name in open world games. For better
Right.
or for worse, they perfected the climb a tower, reveal the map, rinse and repeat formula that dominated the 2010s. I mean, Breath of the Wild, considered to be one of the most influential games in the modern era, is downstream of that formula. Assassin's Creed, Far Cry, Watch Dogs, they weren't just franchise, they were kind of the genre. But somewhere between the 400th Assassin's Creed,
If we continue, one of us will die.
something went weird.
So he's basically saying they've oversaturated the market with that style and they need to start figuring out how to tweak it a little bit. And games today, man, there's so many things going on in games right now. You guys couldn't even imagine. And that's what this Meet the Gamer series is about. Meet the Gamer is about going over these game topics and like really going into like game developers, how games are designed, things like that. So if you guys like games and you guys want to continue watching this content, make sure you guys like, subscribe, things like that. You guys do all that good stuff there. And we can build this up, man. Because right now I'm just reacting to videos. But as we keep growing and keep moving forward, I'm going to continue to add like my little takes on these things. But these are good topics, y'all. There's a lot of Reddit. I got a title here that says, when did Ubisoft fall off a cliff, or was it a gradual decline? When and what caused Ubisoft to go downhill? Ubisoft revenues declined 31.4%. Ubisoft's downfall would do more damage to the gaming, I'm guessing that's going to say community. As a professional gamer, I'm here to study what's going on with the games that I like to play. But the declining of certain developers is because these new up-and-coming developers, they have the juice. They have the FLV. FLV means flavor, okay? FLV, that's what that means. Watch this. The green screen's messing it up, but that's the FLV. That stands for flavor. So a lot of new up-and-comers have the flavor. And if Ubisoft wants to keep up with that, they're going to have to change their tone a bit. Their games are massive. Their games are awesome. And here's a big one. Is Call of Duty doing too much of the rinse and repeat? Because I know I've been seeing Battlefield 6 looking crazy. You know, let's leave some comments, man. Let's talk about things. But we're going to get into this video first. Let's go. Let's go.
In 2024, Ubisoft was supposed to be bouncing back after a few rough years plagued by internal scandals, mass layoffs, game delays, and a creative identity crisis that would make Square Enix blush. The narrative shifted. Assassin's Creed Shadows was finally happening. A long-awaited feudal Japan Assassin's Creed game promising dual protagonists, a stealth action balance, and a lot of hype. Like, Ubisoft hyped this thing like it was going to be Avengers Endgame.
Yes. The hype for Assassin's Creed Shadows was massive because what they did was they went into history, the whole Black Samurai. And shout out to Corey Kenshin. You guys know the Samurai Squad. The Black Samurai was a big deal. A lot of people talk about that. While previous entries in the Assassin's Creed series had traditionally used fictional protagonists, they chose the samurai character to be based on a historic figure. In this case, Yasuke, a black former African slave that had served under the Damo Oba Nobunaga. Oda no nigga. I don't want to say it's a flop because he did make 180 mil. Projected 5 million people playing. If I made a game and 5 million people playing my game, I'd be like,
Hey, 180 mil? I spent about 120, so I only made like 60, 50 mil. But the game's being played? Man, I'm cool, man. I'm cool.
but yeah, this game was being hyped like crazy, man.
For them. But once the dust settled and the financial reports dropped, Ubisoft refused to give a simple answer to a simple question: how many copies did it sell? What was the result?
On Assassin's Creed Shadows, we don't disclose units sold.
There's a growing suspicion that Ubisoft's big comeback might just be another illusion, a projection from a company desperately trying to convince everyone, including themselves, that everything is fine. Hi folks, it's Falcon, and today on Game Ranks, what the hell is going on with Ubisoft?
Right.
So let's start off with the weirdest PR dodge of the year. So Assassin's Creed Shadows dropped, and Ubisoft promptly did this weird thing that they're not the only ones that do it or anything. A lot of these modern AAA developers just love screaming this word: engagement.
They might have dressed it up with pretty words. That does not make it true.
And according to Ubisoft, Shadows has the second highest engagement for an Assassin's Creed game. What does that mean, though? Pre-orders, likes, number of times someone clicked the trailer on YouTube, play hours? I mean, that's a weird thing to brag about when no one really knows what it is. When reporters had the audacity to ask how many copies it sold, Ubisoft got quieter than you would think an assassin would have to be on.
I'm gonna go back a little bit, but on the earnings call, Ubisoft was directly asked by their investors how many copies of Assassin's Creed Shadows sold. So somebody that's invested in your business, invested in your product, is like, hey man, what's my return on investment? How much can I expect back? How much was sold and things like that. Their exact quote. So yeah. On Assassin's Creed Shadows, we don't disclose units sold, but you did it for every other game. So wait a minute, hold on. You're gonna tell an investor, a shareholder, you're gonna tell them, oh, no, we don't discuss this. We don't discuss how many units were sold. But you're asking for everyone to save you and help you, but then you're not being honest with yourself or us, the gamers. I mean, this game literally went over my head. Like, I played Assassin's Creed back in the day, of course. A game they need to bring back is Prince of Persia. And we're going to talk about that on one of our Meet the Gamers as well. Stay tuned for that. Let's go back a little bit.
Really knows what it is. When reporters had the audacity to ask how many copies it sold, Ubisoft got quieter than you would think an assassin would have to be on hard mode. I mean, you're not always completely right about that, but it's whatever. And the collective internet noticed. Ubisoft themselves delivered a Jedi tier dodge. We don't share specific sales figures, but we're very pleased. That is, of course, don't ask questions, just buy the damn game in PR speak. Now, this is concerning because Ubisoft is not in great shape. Their latest financial report showed revenue down, back catalog sales falling, and even Just Dance tripping over its own shoelaces. If Shadows was really the savior they're pretending it is, most people would assume they'd be screaming the sales numbers from the rooftops.
Right.
They are not. So either Shadows is printing money and Ubisoft is being shy for fun, which is, to be fair, what I would do if I were printing money. People don't need to know about my money. I'm also not printing money, so maybe I would be bragging about it. I don't know. But they're either doing that and they're being shy for fun, I guess, or they're redefining success. How very postmodern of them. So right after this weird PR dance that feels, I don't know, like a bad sitcom almost. Right after that, they reintroduced Charlie Guillermo. Anyways, our man Charlie left back in 2021 to pursue other opportunities.
Wait, what'd he say? I'm sorry. What'd he say?
He reintroduced Charlie Guillermo. Anyways, our man Charlie left back in 2021 to pursue other opportunities. Other opportunities being a Web3 gaming company called Unagi, which they appear to be a DeFi, which is decentralized finance blockchain company that is also a leading Web3 gaming studio. I don't think I want to research that any further. I don't know what's going to end up in all that personal information they sell to everybody. Best case scenario, I get a bunch of crypto ads. Charlie's the son of the CEO of Ubisoft. Anyway, before NFT Fantasy Sports or whatever the hell he was doing with Unagi, he was actually the co-head of the mobile studio at Ubisoft called Owlant. Owlant made a game called Tom Clancy's Elite Squad that depicted a fictional terrorist group that used imagery that was very, very similar to the Black Lives Matter symbol. This led to public apologies and Charlie's departure from the company. He went from that to NFTs and decentralized finance crypto stuff doesn't make anybody really think of this guy as like the most professional. So Charlie has returned to Ubisoft to co-lead a new transformation committee aimed at revitalizing the company, because things aren't going so well. And what better thing to do than to bring in fresh blood that used to work at the company and is also the CEO's son. Yeah.
That might solve the problem, right? Come on, guys. Let's talk about it. You think that's going to solve the problem? Bringing back somebody that left? I don't think that's going to solve the problem at all. Player sentiment has hit rock bottom due to a combination of issues, including poor management, rushed releases, and a decline in game quality. No matter who you bring back, if they're not focusing on the management, the rush releases, or the decline in game quality, if they're not focusing on that, you don't need to revitalize Ubisoft. You need to take care of the management, the poor management, the CEO's son or whoever. I mean, come on. It's called nepotism at this point.
I don't see that resulting in a whole lot of brand new ideas. Call me crazy. And as they are transforming, so too is their release dates. Now, while you play Ubisoft games like maybe Far Cry or Ghost Recon or whatever, Ubisoft is playing a game called Delay All the Things. Far Cry 7, Assassin's Creed Hex, and Ghost Recon, they've all been pushed back to 2026 or later. The official reason is to create the best conditions for success, which, I mean, isn't wrong. While they've been pretty dodgy about telling us exactly how Assassin's Creed Shadows did, it's pretty likely it did better than Assassin's Creed Mirage. And part of that is definitely because rather than release it a year ago in whatever state it was in, they released it after another year of work in that state, which is a lot of steps in the right direction for Assassin's Creed, whether you think that it was all the steps that needed to be taken or not. I enjoyed it. Was it the best Assassin's Creed, and was it the best that they could ever do? I'll answer no to both of those.
Have you guys played it? I have not played it. But if this game is supposed to save Ubisoft, let me know what you guys think about this game. Have you played Assassin's Creed Shadows? And do you think that it's going to save Ubisoft?
But I think the delay benefited the game, and I think that is certainly something they're thinking about here. Let's break it down. Far Cry 7 was originally rumored for 2025. They're now eyeing a 2026 launch at the earliest. The game's reportedly undergoing significant changes, including a shift to the Snowdrop engine and a new storyline involving a cult and a ticking clock mechanic. Assassin's Creed Hex, which was teased way back in 2022. This one's set in 16th century witch trials in Central Europe. Not a lot of details, but it's unlikely to see the light of day before 2027. The next Ghost Recon, after the lukewarm reception of Breakpoint, Ubisoft is taking its time with this one for obvious reasons. We don't really have any details on this one, but the delay suggests a pretty significant overhaul is in the works. Like I said, Ubisoft is banking on the idea these delays are going to lead to better quality games, and while that's a noble goal, it is a risky move in an industry where long development cycles can lead to increased costs and waning player interest. And, well, nothing says that better than the next three words: Sands of Time. Remember when Ubisoft announced the Prince of Persia Sands of Time remake back in 2020?
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. This is what I was talking about, y'all. Hold on a second. Prince of Persia. If Ubisoft brings back Prince of Persia and they do it right, they might get some solid engagement, man. That game was nice, but they got to do it right. Let's see what he's talking about.
Player interest. And, well, nothing says that better than the next 3 words. Sands of Time. Remember when Ubisoft announced the Prince of Persia Sands of Time remake back in 2020? It was going to be a nostalgia trip down memory lane, slated for release in January 2021. It is May, as of this recording, in 2025. This game has been delayed many times. It's switched development studios, and it has undergone significant overhauls. Honestly, it's like Ubisoft is thinking that they're using the dagger of time and rewinding, except for they're not, because that's not how time works, at least in real life. Wouldn't it be funny if they added like a storyline where you use the dagger of time to develop a video game? We can take as long as we want. Anyway, initially it was handled by Ubisoft Pune in Mumbai, and it faced criticism for visuals and overall quality, so they handed the reins over to Ubisoft Montreal in 2022, the studio behind the original 2003 classic. It was seen as a positive step. Probably was. We don't know because we really haven't heard anything. But Ubisoft has confirmed the remake is scheduled for release by March 31st, 2026, aligning with the end of fiscal year 2025 to 2026. This does.
So what he's saying is correct. It says Ubisoft forward in June 2024. Ubisoft announced that the remake will release in 2026 under the original title Prince of Persia Sands of Time. 5 long years after Ubisoft announced the Prince of Persia, which is 2020, the Sands of Time remake, the studio says the game is releasing very soon. To be fair, between the remake's announcement in 2020 and now was a complete development reboot in 2023 that has never been officially explained. It says, let's find out how Prince of Persia nearly became a one-hit wonder in the gaming industry.
Does provide a more concrete timeline, but I mean, it's their property. They don't have to tell the truth about when it's going to come out, and even if they are, they don't have to stick to it. If they think they should delay it more, they could. It's part of the beauty of freedom, as well as a test of patience for those of us who like freedom but don't like waiting. I mean, this is a timeless classic, and what I mean by that is that there is no amount of time that you could have estimated development to take and be correct about. Well, it's also like a standard time list. I mean, Sands of Time is killer, and whenever it does come out, it's going to be great. But man, it's not exactly professional the way they handle this stuff, is it? Well, people are taking notice that, I mean, that's a sort of a broader trend than just Ubisoft itself. There is a problem that many are calling deprofessionalization in the AAA gaming industry. I mean, it's the elephant in the Ubisoft boardroom, but you can see it elsewhere too. It's not just a buzzword.
I gotta stop this. This is important, y'all. Deprofessionalization, the weakening or dismantling of a profession, often involving a reduction in autonomy, status, and power for those within that profession. So somebody's talent or skills are being reduced, either blocked, gatekeeping. Have you ever heard the term gatekeeping? That's what's happening.
It's kind of this unsettling reality that's turning game development from a job, nay, a profession, into a gig economy free-for-all. At events like PAX East 2025, the shift was absolutely palpable. The show floor was once dominated by major publishers and felt like a ghost town, to be frank. Attendees noticed the absence of significant exhibitors and a lack of engaging content, and honestly, a lot of people call it one of the saddest conventions they can remember. And everyone still remembers DashCon. We haven't forgot DashCon. Doesn't mean PAX East 2025 was chipper, but that it's not really about an event per se. The event is kind of the forward-facing evidence of the thing that's happening. Ubisoft, for instance, has laid off over 3,000 employees between September 2023 and December 2024. They've replaced these stable.
There it goes. The Montreal studio, one of Ubisoft's most significant hubs, responsible for hit franchises such as Assassin's Creed, was notably impacted. So you laid off the people that were making Assassin's Creed good, and you laid off some of the people, probably, allegedly, they laid off some of the people that were working on Prince of Persia. Because in 2023, they passed it over to the Montreal studio, and the Montreal studio took a significant hit of layoffs. So the talent, the skills, it's not there. It's got to be. It's got to be something like that. Like someone's driving the company into the ground. Lack of professionalism. And that's a big thing today, man. We're getting these people who are just throwing out things, money grabbers. They're not putting their effort into it. Like back in the day, not even back in the day, like right now, you can see if you have people mumble rapping, like blah, 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 that's cool. Versus people that's be actually rapping, something like that. Think of it like that. Like games that are coming out too quick, games that are pushed back forever. I mean, what's going on? Let us get the cool things and then let us figure out if they're cool or not. Don't try to like over advertise us to the point where we're let down as soon as we get it because you just hyped it up so much.
Long-term employment opportunities with short-term contracts and freelance gigs. This is, of course, not even exclusive to gaming. If you wonder what the hell ever happened to unions, benefits, and stability, the words that you can easily answer this with are gig work. Gig work allows employers to, not have employees, more or less. They have people that act like employees, but legally speaking, they're sole proprietors of small businesses that are being contracted out for work. And big companies that do business with small businesses don't usually give a shit about the small businesses. They're doing it because it's a matter of necessity. And the second they could find somebody who can do it cheaper, they do. This creates a race to the bottom that is draining the talent from the video game industry. Not just the video game industry, but there's no reason to talk about other industries within the context of this video, of course. Junior developers in particular are finding it extremely difficult to secure positions, which is leading to a lack of not only fresh perspectives and innovation, but retained talent and expertise being something that a studio develops over time. Arcane Austin, before it was closed, had almost 70% of its workforce just leave because they were tired of working on Redfall, which was Redfall. It wasn't an immersive sim, what that developer was known for. It was a crappy live service game that nobody wanted to work on. And when you're not attracting and retaining talent, hell, when you're just making it impossible for talent to get anywhere, even just the simple foot in the door, it's hard to imagine that over time games will get better, because if every year you have a training season to onboard all of the new people, replacing the people that got burnt out or left for greener pastures.
Left for a job. Look, we were just talking about that. If the talent and the skills of the people are not being utilized and you're not building that environment for them to grow and for them to have autonomous capabilities, meaning they can work without being supervised or nitpicked or micromanaged, they can use their talents, use their skills, come up with fresh ideas, and the game developer goes, no, stick to this. You're out of there. Your skills and talents are not being utilized properly. You're not growing. You're dying. That's why you left for a job. And people who got the talents and skills are being kept out of the door. They're not even be able to get their foot in the door because other people are holding up the spaces and they're draining and dying and fading away. And other companies, like these big companies, they're not trying to pay people for their talent and skills. They want someone to just do it fast, do it cheap, and get it out the door. That's not cool, y'all. That's not cool. The Matumbo.
Nope.
Nah.
A better offer somewhere else, or or left for greener pastures, say a better offer somewhere else, or, a job, not even a video game job, just a job. Like, the sad thing with a lot of these developers is they're leaving games. This is all hitting Ubisoft hard. I mean, it's hitting everybody hard, but Ubisoft laid off over 3,000 employees since September 2023. That is an obscene number of employees. And honestly, the proof is in the pudding with all of these development resets. Even if you have a game that's going well, if you lose important members of the staff mid-development, you essentially have to reboot development, even if technically you're just continuing development, because you have to find a team of people and have them figure out what the hell's going on with the game. A lot of the time, it's better just to start from scratch, because sometimes when certain members leave, you have the extra problem that they're kind of the cipher that can interpret the code and explain it to new people. If that person's gone, well, good luck. I cannot imagine how many times that happened with Skull and Bones.
That's what he was going into about the decline in professionalism. If the leaders are being so poor, and when someone moves from that leadership position, or when the team transfers or leaves, the next people coming up have no idea what to do. There's no structure left. There's no momentum. There's no nothing. And they have to just redo it. That's why games come out. Oh, we're coming out next year. Oh, no, we're coming out in 2 years, because something happened. There was a little kink in the system. You know what I'm saying?
Imagine how many times that happened with Skull and Bones. Can you believe I've gone this entire damn video without mentioning Skull and Bones? What's funny is I don't even need to. Like, I just have to say the words Skull and Bones. That's it. That's all. You all know what I mean. And if you don't, the Wikipedia is more about the development hell than the quadruple A game itself. So, what the hell is going on with Ubisoft? Well, the same thing that's going on with a lot of these big game companies, except they visibly suck.
Yeah.
I mean, they keep bumbling and tripping over their own feet and spend a decade making a game that isn't good, Skull and Bones, or doesn't come out, Beyond Good and Evil 2. Can you believe I haven't even said Beyond Good and Evil 2 yet? I mean, there's so many examples that just serve as shorthand for mismanagement and not knowing what you're doing, and they're attributable to Ubisoft. That's what the hell is going on with Ubisoft. Amidst a sea of change in an industry that has become bloated, isn't serving the people who work in it, and isn't serving its consumers, Ubisoft stands out as a problem. To be noticeable in that bunch is not a desirable position. And a lot of us do genuinely think that Assassin's Creed Shadows is a step in the right direction, and it probably will be a good thing long term. We don't know how much of a good thing, and that feels really weird. These delays, also probably the right moves for those games, but we also have to keep in mind these guys are not in the best of condition. I think the bigger question, and maybe one that we'll try to answer another day, is what the hell is going to happen with Ubisoft? What do you think?
Yes, so the main topic, we already talked about it before the video, we talked about it during the video. What is going on with Ubisoft, but what is going to happen? You see the decline. You guys understand everything that was said in the video. What you guys think, man? What you guys think? And then before we get out of here, I do want to do something different. Can I get your ear for a second? I'm gonna play a game with you, right? I want to play a game with you real quick. So I'm gonna tell you about my highs for this week, or for today, and my lows for today. And then the Buffalo is, I'm going to tell you something interesting about myself, all right? The high for today is I get to record the Meet the Gamer video, and I'm excited to do so because I really enjoy having conversation about games. And a low for today is I'm not going to have enough time to record the Batman gameplay. I wanted to do it today, but after doing this video, after putting all my excitement into it, I'm kind of ready to call it a wrap. And that's a low for me because I had it planned out, I have it written out and everything like that. And something interesting is, one of my favorite PlayStation games, like ever, is Sly Cooper. Sly Cooper. You're gonna see it. We're gonna play it on our channel if the new one comes out. But that's just a little insight to what we got coming up. So with that, you guys, tell me about your highs, tell me about your lows, and tell me about your buffalo. And with that, you guys, thank you for watching. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. All that good stuff there. Meet the Gamer. Hi, I'm DaniyelSon. It's very nice to meet you. And I am a professional gamer. And I'm here to game. And I'm here to react and comment about games. You know what I'm saying? Thank you guys for watching. We'll catch you in the next video. Peace. Shoot, that's how we do that. That's how we do that.
Maybe I gotta